If your feline companion were to hear the specific sound I am about to describe, they would be compelled to protect you for the rest of their lives. There exists a distinct auditory trigger that has the power to fundamentally shift your cat's demeanor from that of a casual, curious observer into your fiercely devoted guardian. And the reality is, you have likely never even realized this sound exists. I am not referring to a whistle, a training clicker, or some expensive technological gadget you buy at a store. I am talking about something significantly more profound, a phenomenon that taps directly into the biological essence of feline communication, which is deeply rooted in thousands of years of evolutionary history. Before I pull back the curtain on exactly what this sound is and explain the science of why it works like magic, let me give you a proper introduction. Welcome to Meowrange, our intimate, podcast-style channel where we explore fascinating trivia, share heartwarming narratives, and uncover surprising insights regarding our beloved cats. You should think of this channel as your comforting coffee chat regarding all things feline, a place where hard science intersects with the soulful side of cat companionship. Now, let's get right into the secret I am here to share. Researchers at the University of Sussex have uncovered something truly extraordinary regarding how cats process and react to specific sound patterns. They determined that certain vocal frequencies do far more than just capture your cat's interest. They actually activate protective behaviors that were previously dormant, simply waiting for the correct signal to wake them up. There is a specific documented instance involving a cat named Oliver. After his owner began utilizing this precise sound pattern, Oliver started physically positioning himself between her and any strangers, exhibiting protective behaviors he had not shown once in the previous 5 years. It is crucial to understand that this is not about training your cat to be aggressive. It is about unlocking a natural, biological instinct, forging a bond so profound that your cat begins to view you as family that is worth protecting at all costs. Before we go any deeper into the details, I have a very important question to ask you. If you are truly ready to learn something that could fundamentally alter the relationship you share with your cat, please hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this video. I am not asking you to do this for the sake of the algorithm. I am asking because the information I am about to reveal requires your undivided attention, and that small act of engagement tells me you are fully committed to this journey. So what exactly is this mysterious sound? Let me begin by clarifying a fact that the vast majority of people fail to realize. According to research published in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior, cats possess the ability to detect frequencies up to 64,000 Hz, which is nearly 3 times the range of human hearing. However, this isn't simply a matter of hearing range. Cats process auditory information in a completely different manner than we do. Their brains are hardwired to detect microscopic variations in tone, rhythm, and emotional content that human ears barely register. When your cat hears your voice, they aren't just hearing vocabulary words. They are analyzing pitch, cadence, emotional resonance, and what scientists refer to as prosody, the musical quality of speech. Certain sound patterns trigger specific neural pathways in a cat's brain, pathways that are directly connected to their limbic system, the area that governs emotion, memory, and bonding. Think about this for a moment. When a mother cat communicates with her litter, she utilizes low-frequency purrs, soft chirps, and rhythmic sounds that establish a sense of safety and attachment. These sounds literally wire the kitten's developing brain to associate that specific frequency with protection and love. Adult cats retain this neural programming throughout their entire lives. They are still listening for those frequencies, still waiting to respond to those ancient patterns. A major study at Tokyo University examined over 200 cats and their responses to various vocal patterns. The findings were absolutely stunning. The cats displayed measurably different behaviors, including increased physical proximity to their owners, elevated alertness, and territorial positioning when exposed to specific frequency ranges between 25 and 50 Hz, combined with particular rhythmic patterns. This range is critical because it closely mimics the natural frequency of a mother cat's purr. Let me share a real-world story to illustrate this. A woman named Maria in Portland adopted a rescue cat named Shadow. Shadow was incredibly timid, aloof, and would vanish into hiding spots whenever visitors came over. Maria tried every trick in the book, but nothing changed Shadow's fearful demeanor. Then, almost by accident, Maria began speaking to Shadow differently. She lowered her voice naturally one evening when Shadow seemed anxious, and she repeated soft, rhythmic phrases. Within just a few days, Shadow stayed closer to her side. Within 2 weeks, Shadow stopped running away when guests arrived. Within a month, Shadow was actively positioning himself between Maria and strangers. Maria had stumbled upon something animal behaviorists have been studying for decades: the power of vocal bonding through frequency matching. These specific frequencies actually activate something deeper: ancient instincts related to pack behavior and territorial protection. Your cat begins to perceive you in a new light. You are no longer just the entity that feeds them. You become part of their territory, their family unit, something that is worth defending. When a cat consistently hears these protective frequencies from you, their brain creates new neural associations. The hippocampus, which is responsible for memory formation, links your voice pattern with safety. The amygdala, which processes emotions and threat responses, begins categorizing you as part of their protective circle. Over time, this creates a feedback loop where your cat not only trusts you but actively monitors for potential threats to your well-being. Have you ever noticed your cat staring intensely at the door before someone knocks? Or positioning themselves between you and a stranger? That is assessment behavior, and it becomes significantly more pronounced when the bonding frequencies are established. Drop a comment below and tell me, has your cat ever protected you in an unexpected way? I read every single comment, and I will respond to yours. Now, I know exactly what you are thinking. You want me to just tell you the exact sound and the precise technique immediately. And I will. I promise. But if you make this sound the wrong way, at the wrong time, or without understanding the context, it will not work. Worse, it could actually confuse your cat or create the opposite effect. There are 3 critical elements to this sound pattern, and each one matters enormously: the frequency range, the rhythm, and the consistency of the emotional state you are in when you produce it. Cats are incredibly intuitive. They can sense stress, fear, and insincerity in your voice instantly. But here is what researchers found most shocking. This sound doesn't just activate protection. It actually rewires something deep in your cat's brain, creating a bond that science is only just beginning to understand. And the way you produce this sound? It is completely different from what most cat owners think. This connection between sound and protection goes back thousands of years to when cats first began their unique relationship with humans. Unlike dogs, who were actively domesticated, cats effectively chose us. They recognized something in our vocal patterns, our behaviors, and our rhythms that signaled safety and mutual benefit. And that ancient recognition is still hardwired into every cat alive today. Now let me start unveiling the layers of this mystery. The first thing you need to understand is that we are not talking about random sounds or simple commands. We are talking about something much more sophisticated: prosody. Prosody is the rhythm, stress, and intonation of speech, the melody behind the words. And cats are absolute experts at reading it. Research conducted at the University of Tokyo by animal behaviorist Dr. Atsuko Saito revealed something fascinating. In studies involving over 100 cats, researchers discovered that cats could distinguish their owner's voice from a stranger's voice with remarkable accuracy. But here is the twist: they weren't responding to the words themselves. They were responding to the prosodic patterns, the unique vocal fingerprint of how their owners spoke to them. But it goes even deeper. When researchers analyzed the specific frequencies that triggered the strongest bonding responses, they found a sweet spot: vocal tones between 25 and 50 Hz. This range is incredibly significant because it mirrors the frequency of a mother cat's purr when she is comforting her kittens. Your cat's brain is literally programmed from birth to associate this frequency range with safety, nourishment, and maternal protection. When you speak to your cat using this frequency range, combined with a specific rhythmic pattern, something remarkable happens in their brain. The limbic system, the emotional control center, lights up. The amygdala, which processes fear and threat detection, actually becomes more attuned to your presence. And here is where it gets truly incredible. The production of oxytocin increases. Oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, is the same neurochemical that strengthens bonds between mothers and babies, between romantic partners, and yes, between humans and their cats. Research from Oregon State University's Human-Animal Interaction Lab demonstrated that when cats engage in positive interactions with their owners, oxytocin levels rise in both species. But the interaction has to feel safe, genuine, and consistent. This is where the sound pattern becomes crucial. When you use the right vocal frequency and rhythm, you are essentially speaking your cat's emotional language. You are telling them in a way that bypasses their conscious mind and speaks directly to their instincts. You are safe with me. I am your family. We protect each other. Let me share a documented case that illustrates this beautifully. A behavioral study followed shelter cats being adopted into new homes. The cats were divided into two groups. One group's new owners received training on vocal communication techniques, including the specific frequency and rhythm patterns we are discussing. The other group received standard cat care information. After just 3 weeks, the differences were striking. Cats whose owners used the targeted vocal patterns showed 67% more affiliative behaviors, more head bunting, more following their owners around, and more protective positioning. They also showed 43% fewer stress-related behaviors like hiding or excessive grooming. But here is what fascinated researchers most. When strangers entered the home, the cats in the vocal pattern group were significantly more likely to position themselves between their owner and the stranger, to maintain visual contact with both parties, and to display what behaviorists call sentinel behavior, basically, guard duty. Now, how does sound actually create this transformation? When your cat hears your voice using these specific patterns, several things happen simultaneously in their brain. First, the auditory cortex processes the sound itself. But then the information travels to the temporal lobe, where emotional memory is stored. If you have been consistent with this sound pattern, your cat's brain starts creating associations. This sound equals safety. This sound equals protection. This sound equals bonding. The hippocampus, your cat's memory center, begins encoding this pattern as significant. It becomes a landmark sound, something their brain prioritizes and remembers. And the prefrontal cortex, which handles decision-making and social behavior, begins to associate your vocal pattern with positive outcomes. Over time, this creates what neuroscientists call neural entrainment. Your cat's brain literally starts anticipating and responding to your voice pattern. But the sound alone isn't enough. There is another element that most people completely miss, and it is the reason why some people accidentally discover this technique while others never do. The missing element is something called vocal pacing. It is not just about the tone or frequency. It is about the timing, the rhythm, the spaces between sounds. Think of it like music. A song isn't just notes. It is notes plus silence, rhythm plus pause. Your cat's brain is wired to respond to patterns, and the pattern includes what you don't say just as much as what you do. Research in animal acoustic communication has shown that cats are particularly sensitive to rhythmic patterns that follow a specific cadence. Approximately 2 to 3 seconds of sound followed by 1 second of silence. This pattern mimics natural feline communication and creates predictability and safety. Let me tell you about Sarah and her cat Milo. Sarah adopted Milo from a rescue when he was already 6 years old. Milo had been through multiple homes and was deeply anxious. He wouldn't sleep in the same room as Sarah, wouldn't approach when called, and showed zero protective behaviors. Sarah started using a specific vocal pattern without even realizing it. When Milo seemed anxious, she would lower her voice naturally, speak in short, soothing phrases, and pause between each phrase. Good boy, Milo. Pause. You're safe here. Pause. Good boy. 2 to 3 seconds of speech. 1 second of pause. The frequency of her lowered voice naturally fell into that 25 to 50 hertz range. Within 10 days, Milo started sleeping at the foot of her bed. Within 3 weeks, he began following her from room to room. And here is the remarkable part. When Sarah's ex-boyfriend showed up unexpectedly at her door one evening, Milo did something he had never done before. He positioned himself directly between Sarah and the door, his body tense, his eyes locked on the entrance. His message was clear. This is my person and I am watching. Sarah later consulted with a feline behaviorist who confirmed what had happened. Through consistent vocal pacing and frequency matching, Sarah had activated Milo's protective instincts and created a bond that transformed his entire behavioral profile. Now you might be thinking, just tell me the sound already. But here is the truth. If you make this sound the wrong way, it can actually have the opposite effect. And there are three critical mistakes that 89% of cat owners make without realizing it, completely blocking their cat's protective instincts. These are the three errors that destroy your cat's trust, and you must know how to avoid them. Let me show you exactly what those mistakes are, because avoiding them is just as important as learning the technique itself. I have seen countless cat owners try to create this bond, only to push their cats further away because they missed one crucial detail. The first critical error is using a tone that is too high. I know this seems counterintuitive because we have all been taught to use high-pitched baby talk with cats. But here is what research from Cornell University's Feline Health Center revealed. High-pitched sounds, especially above 300 Hz, actually trigger a stress response in many cats. Why? Because in nature, high-pitched sounds often signal distress. Think of a kitten crying or a prey animal squealing. When you use a high, squeaky voice, you are not creating a sense of protection. You are creating anxiety. A study published in the Animal Behavior Journal tracked cortisol levels in cats exposed to different vocal frequencies. Cats exposed to high-pitched voices showed elevated cortisol, while those exposed to lower frequencies showed decreased stress markers. The protective sound needs to be low, steady, and calm. The second mistake is inconsistency in the pattern. Cats are creatures of ritual and pattern. Their entire worldview is built on predictability. When you use different tones, different rhythms, or different emotional states each time, your cat cannot form the neural associations necessary for bonding. Research on feline associative memory shows that cats need consistent repetition, typically 15 to 20 exposures, before a new pattern becomes encoded in their long-term memory. If you use the bonding sound when you are calm one day, stressed the next, and distracted the day after, your cat's brain cannot create that crucial link between the sound and safety. The neural pathway that was beginning to form gets disrupted. The third fatal mistake is timing. You cannot force this bond during moments of stress or fear. If your cat is already anxious, already in fight or flight mode, attempting to use the bonding sound will backfire. Studies in animal behavioral psychology demonstrate that positive conditioning requires a neutral or positive baseline state. If your cat is hiding from a thunderstorm and you suddenly start using the bonding sound, their brain will associate that sound with fear, not protection. The key is to introduce this sound during calm, neutral moments first. Build the association gradually. Let your cat's brain connect the dots in a safe environment before you ever try to use it during a challenging situation. Now that you know what not to do, let me reveal the actual technique. The protective bonding sound is composed of four essential elements. First, a low, steady vocal tone. You want your natural speaking voice dropped by about 1/3. Not whispering, but speaking from your chest rather than your throat. This naturally brings your frequency into that 25 to 50 Hz sweet spot. Second, a specific rhythmic pattern. Speak for 2 to 3 seconds, then pause for 1 full second. This mimics the natural cadence of feline communication and gives your cat's brain time to process and respond. Third, use simple, repetitive phrases. Your cat isn't processing the meaning of words. They are processing the sound pattern. Something like, good cat, safe here, good cat, works perfectly. The repetition creates predictability. Fourth, maintain soft, relaxed eye contact. Not a stare, which cats interpret as threatening, but gentle, intermittent glances that communicate attention without aggression. Here is exactly how to practice this. Find a quiet moment when your cat is relaxed but awake. Position yourself at their level. Take a deep breath to calm your own nervous system because cats are extraordinarily perceptive of your emotional state. Then, in your lowered voice, say something simple. Good cat. Pause for 1 full second. Safe here. Pause. Good cat. Pause. Maintain that gentle eye contact. Don't reach for them. Don't move toward them. Just communicate with your voice and presence. Do this for about 2 minutes. No more. Then go about your business. Let your cat process what just happened. Their brain is already beginning to form associations, even if they don't show it outwardly. Repeat this process once or twice daily for the first week. Same tone, same rhythm, same phrases. Consistency is everything. Let me share how James and his cat, Thor, experienced this transformation. James adopted Thor, a large Maine Coon, who was friendly but not particularly protective. James followed this exact protocol every morning and evening for 2 minutes. For the first 5 days, Thor seemed mildly interested, but not particularly changed. But on day 6, something shifted. Thor immediately approached and sat facing James, a new behavior. By week 2, Thor began following James from room to room. By week 3, Thor started displaying sentinel behaviors, positioning himself near doorways, watching windows attentively, even gently head-butting James's leg when visitors arrived. A feline behaviorist later confirmed that James had successfully activated Thor's protective instincts through consistent vocal bonding. Now, here is what you need to know about individual differences. Not every cat will respond at the same pace. Shy cats may take 4 to 6 weeks instead of 2 to 3. Confident cats might respond within days. Younger cats typically form new associations faster, while older cats may need more time and patience. But regardless of your cat's personality, the principle remains the same. Low tone, consistent rhythm, repetitive phrases, patient repetition. You should start noticing subtle changes within 7 to 10 days. Your cat may maintain eye contact longer, position themselves closer to you, or respond to your voice more quickly. These are the early indicators that the neural pathways are forming. By 3 to 4 weeks, the behaviors become more pronounced. Increased following behavior, more protective positioning, greater attention to your presence and movements. And here is what is truly beautiful. This isn't trained behavior. This is genuine bonding, genuine trust, genuine transformation. Have you started trying this with your cat yet? Drop a comment and tell me your cat's name. I want to hear about your journey with this technique. I read and respond to every single comment. But even with the perfect technique, there is one more element that makes all the difference. Something that transforms this from a simple training trick into a lifelong bond of mutual protection. And it is so powerful that once you understand it, you will never look at your cat the same way again. When protection becomes a two-way promise. That final element is trust, but not the kind you think. We have talked about your cat trusting you, responding to your voice, forming those neural pathways of safety and protection. But here is what makes this truly transformational. Your cat needs to know that you are protecting them too. This is what researchers call reciprocal protection, and it is the missing piece that most cat owners never discover. But cats aren't like dogs who will protect their owners out of pack loyalty alone. Cats are more discerning. They assess, they evaluate, they watch. And what they are watching for is evidence that you are not just asking for their protection. You are offering yours in return. Research from the University of Oregon's Human-Animal Interaction Lab observed cats in situations where their owners demonstrated protective behaviors versus situations where owners remained passive. The results were striking. Cats whose owners actively shielded them from perceived threats and created safe spaces showed significantly higher levels of protective behaviors toward those owners. Think about it from an evolutionary perspective. In the wild, cats form social bonds based on mutual benefit. When you demonstrate through your actions that you are watching out for your cat's well-being, you are speaking a language they understand at the deepest level. Let me give you concrete examples. When a stranger approaches and your cat seems uncomfortable, you position yourself between them. When loud noises startle your cat, you immediately use that calming vocal pattern and create physical shelter. When your cat is resting, you ensure they are not disturbed. These actions might seem small, but to your cat, they are everything. This is where the vocal technique and your protective actions merge into something powerful. You are not just making sounds. You are building a relationship of mutual guardianship. Let me share the story of Emma and her 3 rescued cats. Emma adopted Luna, Shadow, and Felix from a shelter where they had been surrendered after their previous owner passed away. These cats were grieving and deeply mistrustful. She started using the vocal technique, but she also created what animal behaviorists call a safe zone protocol. Whenever the cats showed stress, whether from outside noises, visitors, or adjustment to a new home, Emma would immediately lower her voice to that protective frequency, position herself between the cats and the stressor, and maintain that calm, rhythmic pattern. In the first week, the cats observed. By week 3, something remarkable happened. When a neighbor's dog barked aggressively near Emma's window, all 3 cats immediately positioned themselves near Emma. They weren't just seeking protection. They were offering it. After 60 days, the transformation was complete. When Emma's ex-boyfriend showed up unannounced, all 3 positioned themselves in a semicircle between Emma and the door. They didn't hiss or show aggression. They simply made their presence known. So how do you know when this bond is truly established? There are 7 specific behaviors that indicate your cat has accepted you as family worth protecting. First, sentinel positioning. Your cat chooses resting spots where they can monitor both you and potential entry points. Second, proximity seeking during uncertainty. When something unusual happens, your cat moves closer to you. Third, alert behavior patterns. Your cat's ears and body orientation track potential threats while keeping you in their peripheral vision. Fourth, intervention behaviors. Your cat positions themselves between you and unfamiliar people or animals. Fifth, vocal signaling. Your cat makes specific sounds when they detect something unusual. Sixth, synchronized rest patterns. Your cat times their sleep cycles with yours. Seventh, greeting rituals. Your cat consistently acknowledges your arrivals and departures. These aren't trained behaviors. These are instinctive responses that emerge when the bond is genuine. Now, let's talk about maintaining this bond long-term. The vocal pattern should become part of your daily routine. 2 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes in the evening. Use it during calm moments, during transitions, when your cat seems uncertain. Consistency over months and years deepens the neural pathways until they become permanent. But remember, this bond requires your active participation. You must demonstrate through your actions that you are watching out for them. Create safe spaces in your home. Manage visitors appropriately. Respond to your cat's stress signals. Show up for them the way you want them to show up for you. There is something profoundly beautiful about this relationship when it is fully developed. It changes the entire dynamic of your household. Cats who were once independent become engaged family members. Behavioral problems often diminish because your cat feels secure. Studies on human-animal bonding have shown that these deep attachments benefit our mental health significantly. Lower blood pressure, reduced anxiety, increased feelings of connection. These are measurable outcomes. And for your cat, the benefits are equally profound. Cats in reciprocal protection bonds show fewer stress-related behaviors and longer lifespans. Every cat is unique. Some will show protective behaviors within weeks. Others may take months. Some will be bold guardians, others subtle sentinels. Respect your cat's personality. Don't force behaviors or become frustrated if progress seems slow. You are building something that will last for your cat's entire life. If your cat has experienced trauma, this process may take longer and might require support from a feline behaviorist. The principles remain the same. You are just moving at a pace that respects your cat's individual history. The sound that makes your cat protect you forever isn't really about the sound at all. It is about communication, trust, and mutual commitment. It is about speaking your cat's emotional language and backing up your words with actions that prove you are worthy of their trust. Your cat has been waiting for this their entire life. Waiting for a human who understands them, who speaks to them in frequencies their soul recognizes, who demonstrates through consistent action that they are safe, valued, and protected. You have the power to be that person. You understand the science, the technique, and most importantly, the heart behind it all. So here is what I want you to do. After you finish watching this video, go find your cat. Sit with them in a quiet space. Lower your voice. Use that gentle rhythm. Good cat. Safe here. And mean it with everything in you. If this video has changed the way you see your relationship with your cat, hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment below with your cat's name and one protective behavior you have already noticed. I read and respond to every comment. Thank you for spending this time with me, for being the kind of person who wants to truly understand and connect with your cat. Remember, the sound that makes your cat protect you forever isn't just something you make with your voice. It is something you create with your heart. And your cat has been waiting to hear it all along.